Some of my Patreon subscribers should be happy right now because I got the new fresh haircut. Yeah, as I mentioned in my last video, some of my Patreon subscribers in my last live stream was teasing me because I hadn't had a haircut since the Saturday before Memorial Day. But I just went to the barber shop on Saturday and got my fresh new cut. And then I probably won't get another haircut until mid-August. Nah, I'll probably get it before then. But, yeah. But since I got my new haircut, let me let Alexa take me up into the clouds. Alexa, transition me into cartoon mode for a few seconds.
Okay, as you wish.
All right, Alexa, back to real life. Back to reality.
If that is what you really want, King Allen. Back to life. Back to reality.
Thank you, Alexa.
You are very welcome, Mr. Currie. Mode 1.
Now, I get criticized again, as if that's something new. But no, not from a hater, the people who I call my haters and critics, but from a follower of mine, enthusiastic. If you remember, at minimum, this is at least the third time I've been accused of this. And really probably more than this, but minimum third time. So if you've been following me since I first got on YouTube, which was in early April of 2017, a little over 2 years ago, was when I first got on YouTube. And I want to say my very first angry rant / admonishment video, the very first video I did that could be categorized as an angry rant and or an admonishment, was when I had a listener viewer of mine. He said, Alan, I want to say he actually called me dangerous. He said, he said something to that effect. He said, Alan, with all due respect, I think your message for men is dangerous. Or if he didn't say dangerous, he said, I think it will have a negative impact on society. He said, on one end, he did compliment one thing. He said, I do like and respect your emphasis on honesty, because I think most people should be honest with one another. But he said, you seem to place a dangerous level of emphasis on the pursuit of short-term, non-monogamous casual sex. He said, when I listen to it, it seems like just about all your emphasis is on the pursuit of short-term, non-monogamous casual sex companionship. He said, you never really talk about marriage. You never really talk about the pursuit of long-term, strictly monogamous romantic relationships. And most of all, you never really talk about true love. He said, you never really talk about true love. This was back in, I think, either April or May of 2017 when this guy wrote me. Then the second time I've dealt with this was, if you remember, I had a Patreon subscriber he's back to being my Patreon subscriber, a guy I'm actually very fond of. He's an international follower of mine. And he left me for about 3 or 4 months. I told this story on a video either earlier this year or late last year. Yeah, in fall of last year, he actually left me for a minimum of 3 months and as many as 4 months because he said that he felt like some of my perspective on women was jaded. And it almost bordered on being pessimistic. And he went on to say that he felt like the way I talk about women was causing him to look at all women as scandalous, unfaithful, adulterous slut types, but that I didn't put enough emphasis on the good girls of the world, the strictly monogamy oriented good girls of the world. And similar to that other guy, he basically said, Alan, you don't seem to put enough emphasis on marriage, pursuing your next wife, pursuing your next long-term romantic companion, and the concept of true love. So he went and followed another dating coach, an indirect dating coach. And I know some of y'all probably thinking he probably followed Alpha Male Strategies. No, he didn't follow. It was somebody else. It wasn't Alpha Male Strategies. It was another dating coach who emphasized more indirect. But he said that led him to a lot of frustration. When he went back to being indirect, I don't want to get into the whole story, but essentially, yeah, he regretted it. And he ended up coming back to me. Because he said, what do I always say is the number one weakness of indirect, more than any other weakness, is that it opens the door to the women who I refer to as manipulative time wasters. And that was the biggest thing he said. He said when he went back to being indirect, he said two things. He said when it came to the women that he did successfully get in bed, he said there were some women he got in bed from being indirect, but he said it required a higher investment of time and a higher investment of money compared to being direct. He said it required a higher investment of time and a higher investment of money compared to the women he got in bed by being direct. And he said for the women he failed to get in bed, he said he wasted a significant amount of time and a significant amount of money on those women before realizing that they really weren't genuinely interested in having sex with him, which is two things I've always said. I've always said that. I've always said when you indirect compared to direct, when it comes to the women that you do successfully get in bed, I always say 95 to 99% chance you're going to invest more time and you're going to invest more money. You're going to invest more time and you're going to invest more money. And even worse, for the women that you fail to get in bed, you're going to end up wasting a lot of time and a lot of money only to find out days later, weeks later, or months later that those women really aren't interested in having sex with you. That's what caused me to go from mode 2 to mode 1 permanently. Is those two reasons. But yeah, that's what my follower ended up saying he realized, and that's what brought him back to being a Patreon subscriber of mine. Anyway, just this weekend, I had another guy write me. And he said, Alan, I'm going to be paraphrasing. I don't have the email in front of me. So I'm going to be paraphrasing what he said. But essentially, he was like, Alan, he said, I love your work. Guys, usually when they want to criticize me, my followers, they always start out complimenting. So he said, I love a lot of your content. I own at least 3 of your 4 audiobooks. I forget which audiobook he told me he didn't own. I think he said he didn't own Who Said Again. But he has Mode 1, he has Possibility of Sex, and he has the Beta Male Revolution audiobook. Yeah, I want to say the one audiobook he doesn't own is Who Said Again. And so he said, yeah, I love your videos. I love your audiobooks. I've read your freelance articles on the Negro Manosphere. And, but he said, man, if I have one criticism of you, Alan, man, and I hope you're not offended when I say this, but he said, I know you always want to point out that Mode 1 is not strictly about the pursuit of casual sex. I've heard you say that Mode 1 can be applied to all 4 types of relationships, which would be long-term monogamous, long-term non-monogamous, short-term monogamous, and short-term non-monogamous. He said, I've heard you say that Mode 1 applies to all 4 types of relationships. But he said, if I'm being real, it seemed like when I listen to you on your videos, no less than 80% of your emphasis is on short-term non-monogamous sex. He said, I rarely hear you giving advice that's geared towards helping men find their next wife, helping men find their next long-term romantic companion within the context of a strictly monogamous relationship. He said even serial monogamy short-term monogamous relationships. He said, I don't really hear you talk about that much. He said, it seemed like 4 out of every 5 videos you do, your emphasis seems to be about casual sex and like fuck buddies and pursuing, just get more fuck buddies. And he basically said, man, I'm at a place in my life where I don't want fuck buddies. He said, I want a meaningful relationship. I want to build a family. I want a wife. I want to have children. I want to build a family. And he said, Alan, I think you should emphasize that more. He said, I think, truthfully, I think your career would blow up and you would probably make more money if you put more emphasis on marriage and long-term romantic relationships. Which, in his defense, believe it or not, my own brother, Stephen, my own brother has actually suggested that at times. My brother has said that, so I can't say that that's not a suggestion I haven't heard before, because yeah, my own blood brother has suggested to me at times. He said, bro, because sometimes I tease him about, if I have one little part-time hobby, my guilty pleasure hobby, y'all know I used to live in LA. I've talked about this on one video before. I was saying how, you ever subscribe to somebody's website and they start sending you emails and like at least half of you wants to unsubscribe, but the stuff that they happen to send you through that email subscription is to your interest, so you don't want to, you're not 100% enthusiastic about maintaining your subscription, but you don't want to unsubscribe either. Anyway, there's a top real estate person who emphasizes like Beverly Hills, Hollywood Hills, what other areas of Los Angeles? Malibu. So he sends me these emails. I'm on his subscription list. He sends these emails with all these funky ass cribs, man. All these funky ass cribs. And I ain't gonna lie, I be drooling. I've never been a real highly materialistic person, and I think most people know me, who have known me for a while, know that. Compared to most people I know, my level of materialism is at best average, maybe even slightly below average. But as I've gotten older, man, I'm really into real nice cribs, man. Although I've always said I probably would never want to own a house again until I get married, unless I was married with children. As a bachelor, 95% chance I would never own a house again. Not as a bachelor. But if I got married and had children, yeah, I would want to. Anyway, man, this dude, man, if I showed y'all some of the cribs, man, they're just, they're way out of my price range. They're way out of my price range. But they mainly homes that, rich, famous celebrities would live in. But man, these cribs are just funky, man. Anyway, I'll be sharing someone with my brother. And my brother will always say, bro, if you want to live in a crib like that, you need to tone down your profanity, tone down the sexually explicit language, and diminish your emphasis on pursuing casual sex. You need to start putting more emphasis on men finding, meaningful relationships, true love, and that type of thing. So yeah, even my own brother has said that. Yeah, I'll tell y'all the one area, like whenever I go to LA, man, I go to either Hollywood Hills or the area, that's, if you know LA, Sunset Boulevard, Sunset Strip. That's the one area I would want to live. If I could, if somebody said, Alan, if you could live anywhere in the United States and money was no issue, where would you live? Sunset Strip. Right above Sunset Strip. Yep. Right above Sunset Strip, man. Love that area, man. Which is essentially Hollywood Hills. Because when I used to work for NBC, man, I used to deliver different packages, sometimes $1 million checks. Like people would say, Alan, here's a $5 million check. I need you to deliver it to this actor or this actress or this writer. So I would go to Hollywood Hills, man. Man, all these people had these funky ass cribs, man. Man. Anyway, so going back to this guy, who wrote me this weekend. Yeah, he said, Alan, he said, man, I think you need to put more in. I think you need to do more videos about love. And then he wrapped it up by saying, unless you don't believe in love. Would you say you don't believe in love, Alan? Am I to believe that you don't believe in love, or you're not a fan of what's known as true love? Well, if you've been following me since my Blog Talk Radio days, you should know I have a simple formula, very simple kind of mathematical formula for love. I've mentioned this when I used to write for the Examiner. I believe when I wrote for the Negro Manosphere. Like, matter of fact, speaking of Negro Manosphere, I wrote at least minimum of all my articles, at least 2 or 3 of them centered around marriage and or long-term relationships. Not all of my articles centered around casual sex. Yeah, I wrote at least 2 or 3 articles. I remember one was called, and if I find it, I'll put it in the comment section. One was called, here it is. Laughs, Orgasms, and Great Children, Why Men Want True Love. Laughs, Orgasms, and Great Children, Why Men Want True Love. And I'll include that in the comment section. That was one of the 2 or 3 articles I wrote that had to do with giving advice on marriage or long-term relationships. But yeah, here's my simple formula. Well, I technically have 2. One, this is my definition of love in really overly simplistic terms. Yeah, I'm still not over that cold, man. I thought I was 100% over my cold, but last night I was coughing like crazy, man. I think it might be because in my apartment I live in, I have what's known, most people know, central air. So when I'm outside, it's real hot. And then I come in, it's not too cold, but it's kind of, chilled. Anytime my body experiences a change in temperature like that, I'm susceptible to colds. Oh, I don't want to say, I appreciate a lot of you guys, my followers. Whenever I'm dealing with a health ailment, I have a percentage of my followers and supporters that will send me advice or recommendations for health remedies, either home remedies, over-the-counter remedies, etc. So I want y'all to know, man, that really touches me. And I'm not being lighthearted. That really touches me, man. When you guys make comments like, Alan, man, we want you to stay healthy. We don't want to lose you prematurely. Please take care of your health. Here's some tips on how to take care of your health. When I get those type of comments, man, that really means a lot to me. So I don't want to get mushy or sentimental, but I think that's really cool of y'all to do that, to look out for my health. Help me look out for my health. Love. My simple, overly simplistic formula for love is simply this. Lust, pure lust plus friendship. Pure lust plus friendship. That's my, the Alan Roger Currie formula for love. And it has been probably for like the last 15, 20 plus years. Yeah, because I used to bring that up a lot when I used to do my Blog Talk Radio show between 2007 and 2016. That's always been my formula for love. Again, it's an overly simplistic formula, but that's my formula for love. Is pure lust plus genuine friendship equals true love. In other words, another slight variation for that for me would be enjoyable sex plus enjoyable conversation equals the foundation for true love to happen. Enjoyable sex plus enjoyable conversation equals the foundation for true love to happen. Yeah, that's what I believe. Um, you heard me in one video, I think a couple weeks ago or so. I mentioned, about the ancient Greeks, guys like Plato and Aristotle, Socrates. Well, it's well known among ancient Greeks, they separated love into a minimum of 4 categories. And some people say that when they were being really more ultra specific, they had even more than 4 categories. But I'll stick with 4 categories for now. The ancient Greeks basically had 4 categories of love. 4 categories of love. One was spiritual love, which was, I think, also known as agape, spiritual love. That represents the type of love you would have for God, considering if you're a spiritual person. Like, I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person, although I used to be when I was younger. But I am a spiritual person. In other words, I'm not an atheist and I'm not agnostic. I'm not an atheist and I'm not agnostic. I do believe in God. I'm not a fan of organized religion, but I am spiritual. So that's one type of love, spiritual love. That's when that mainly centers around love for God. Love for God. And I want to say along with that, love basically for your fellow human beings. That would be agape love. The other type of love is family love. Family love. I want to say the name of that is philia. Philia. And I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's I think it's storge. Storge is family love. Family love. That basically represents the love you have for your parents, the love you have for your siblings, the love you have for your children and your blood relatives. That's storge. It's family love. That represents the love you have for your parents, your siblings, and your children. And other relatives, other family relatives. That's the second type of love. Third type of love is the one I mentioned already, philia or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. But basically, platonic love. Platonic love. That's the third type of love, is platonic love. That's the love you have for a close platonic friend of yours. It could be a platonic friend of the same gender or a platonic friend of the opposite gender. But yeah, that's the third type of love, is platonic love. Platonic love. And then the final type of love is what's known as sexual love. Sexual love. Essentially, the ancient Greeks said sexual love is essentially the same thing as lust. Sexual love and lust are essentially the same thing. They're essentially the same thing. Romantic love, which is similar to my formula, would be a combination of platonic love and sexual love. Or what I like to more so say, friendship plus lust. Friendship plus lust. The ancient Greeks, if they were describing it, they would probably say platonic love plus sexual love. Because for them, sexual love is the same thing as lust. Now, they had an interesting take on sexual love. The ancient Greeks basically said of the 4 types of love, they felt like sexual love is the least stable, and the most fickle, which is essentially the same thing. Fickle means unstable or fleeting. Fickle means unstable and or fleeting. Yeah, they basically said sexual love out of 4 types of love is the least stable and the most fickle, mainly because they said a large part of sexual love, i.e. lust, is dependent on physical attraction. Physical attraction. So in real practical terms, they basically argued that if you call yourself in love with a woman on a purely sexual level, if that woman, say, gains 75 to 100 pounds, your lust is going to dissipate. It's going to diminish because you're going to be like, damn, she's fat now. I ain't lusting after her now. She done gained like 75 to 100 pounds, which happens to a lot of women if they either just get lazy or after they have children. Like, I know a lot of women who had a slim, nice, shapely body before they had children. And then once they had like at least one child, and definitely once they had 2 or more children, they got fat than a motherfucker. I mean, that's very common among women after they have children. If a woman is real heavy and she ain't had no children, then she just a lazy ass. I'll just say that. She just lazy. She just lazy, got poor eating habits, and lazy and non-existent exercise habits. But a lot of women will get real heavy who used to have a nice body will get heavy after they have like 2 or more children. Now, there's a lot of women, man. That's where I got to give Kim Kardashian pub. And a lot of female celebrities, man. Kim Kardashian, man, she's had like, what, 3 children now? 3 or 4 children? She never lets herself get out of shape, man. Yeah, you can have your criticisms about Kim Kardashian. She's a materialistic type chick, superficial, shallow type chick. But that chick keeps herself in generally good shape. She don't let herself get all fat and sloppy looking. And, but yeah, so that's why the ancient Greeks said that sexual love, or i.e. lust, is the least stable and most fickle because it's too dependent on physical appearance. It's too dependent on physical attraction. I would say in both directions, not just in terms of men putting emphasis on women's physical attractiveness, but contrary to popular belief, women put a certain degree of emphasis on men's physical attractiveness. I've always said, particularly when it comes to casual sex, their emphasis diminishes when it comes to marriage and long-term relationships. But for casual sex, looks always play a part. Looks and sex appeal. Remember those 7 categories I was talking about in my last video? My 7 categories? Which was looks, sex appeal, age, intelligence and or education, race, ethnicity, or cultural or religious background, career success, money status, fame, and the final one was mouthpiece. I would say out of these 7, here are the 3 that most affect your success when it comes to casual sex. Here I go emphasizing casual sex again. Looks, mouthpiece, sex appeal. Looks, mouthpiece, sex appeal. Those 3 are the 3 that play the most emphasis for a woman when it comes to casual sex. Is sex appeal, looks, mouthpiece. Yeah. Those are the 3 that's the most important for the average woman when it comes to casual sex. Now, when it comes to more marriage or more long-term relationships, then those other characteristics come into play. I got to tell y'all, man, I just experienced one of the worst things you could experience as a video podcaster. Wow. My video stopped recording on my smartphone. I was talking for like the last, at least 20 to 30 minutes, and my smartphone wasn't even recording. I thought it was recording, and it wasn't even recording. Fuck. And as most of you know, I speak what's known as extemporaneously. Extemporaneously, meaning I don't have like specific notes in front of me or a script or even as much as bullet points. Like when I first got on YouTube, I used to have at least bullet points. But I just speak off the top of my head, man. And so when you speak off the top of your head and you try to recreate the same specific words, and anyway, man, that's a tough pill. That's only second. So in the last 2+ years since I've been recording video podcasts, that's only the second, no more than third time that's happened to me, where I thought I was recording only to realize later that the shit wasn't recorded. But anyway, where I left off was I was talking about one of my followers. Fuck, this is frustrating. Accused me of not putting enough emphasis on true love. And I said my formula is pure lust plus genuine friendship equals true love. Or enjoyable sex plus enjoyable conversation equals the basis or the foundation for true love to develop. And I want to make it clear, I'm not anti-love. I'm not anti-true love. Not in any way, shape, or form. I'm not anti-true love. Like my brother, he has a great loving relationship with his wife, my sister-in-law. And I got close friends and fraternity brothers who have a great loving relationship with their wives, significant others. I'm not anti-love, but here's what I believe. I believe that a lot of love, what a lot of men and women categorize as love is bullshit. In simple terms, I believe in what a lot of people categorize as love is bullshit. If I had to give 2 or 3 examples. On the male end, there are a lot of men who will say, man, I love my wife, but man, if she was to gain 50, 60, 75, 100 pounds, man, I'd be ready to divorce her. I'd be ready to break up with her. Then that ain't love. If your love is predicated on your wife, fiance, or long-term girlfriend being exceptionally good looking and super sexy, that ain't love. That ain't love. How's that love? That ain't true love. That, at minimum, that's representative of sexual love. Because again, sexual love is essentially the same thing as lust. So even the ancient Greeks agreed that lust is predicated on a woman's, or a man and a woman's physical attractiveness and sex appeal. So you could say that's representative of sexual love, but I define true love or romantic love as a combination of platonic love and sexual love, or lust plus friendship. Lust plus friendship. So a woman's looks might cover the lust part of your love, but that don't have nothing to do with the friendship portion. So how is that true love? Same with women. There are a lot of women who are just the opposite. They'll put more emphasis on the friendship component of love. But I know women who are married to guys that they're not even physically or sexually attracted to. Y'all remember the one woman who I brought up a few times, the graduate student at UCLA that I used to fuck, Caucasian blonde. She told me not only was she not really physically and sexually attracted to her fiance at the time, but she said in general she wasn't really physically and sexually attracted to white men, period. Even though she was white. But she admitted to me while I was fucking her that her preference was for black men. Yeah, she said she had a preference for black men as far as strictly sexual companionship. She liked black men. She basically admitted that she was getting ready to marry her fiance for this, for the sake of how much money he was making. He was making like about $900,000 a year at that time. So there's a lot of women who are superficial and shallow when it comes to men's money, or if not money, just a lot of women that will hook up with guys simply because they have a high degree of platonic love for that guy. There's a lot of women who will hook up with men because they have a lot of platonic love for a guy. And then similarly, there's a lot of men who hook up with women because they have a high degree of lust and sexual love for a woman, but they don't really have that much platonic love for that woman. So both of them, like a lot of men, another thing about a lot of men confuse strict monogamy. I wrote an article on examiner.com about this, how a lot of men confuse strict monogamy and a desire for pussy ownership with love. That ain't love. That ain't true love. If your main emphasis is on pussy ownership, which is unrealistic in this day and age, that ain't love. I know, for example, I know a lot of guys who be like, man, I love my wife, but if I ever found out she cheating on me, ooh, I would divorce her in a microsecond, or I'd break up with her in a microsecond. Then you ain't really in love with her. How you gonna say you really in love with your wife if you would break up with her if you found out she cheated on you? That ain't love. At least by my definition, it ain't. That's ego. That ain't got nothing to do with lust or friendship. That has to do with ego right there. When you have a strong desire, when you're territorial about women's pussies, territorial, possessive and territorial, that's your ego. That's your ego talking. You don't want your ego bruised, is what it is about that. That's ego. That ain't got nothing to do with friendship, genuine friendship, which is one of the two components of true love. And that really ain't got nothing to do with lust. That has to do with your ego. Which, you know, the ego can bring down a lot of men. My brother always warns me about managing my ego. Because the ego, as I said in my Mom One book, the ego can be simultaneously your ally at times and your enemy. It can be both. It's a double-edged sword. It can be your ally, best friend, or it can be your worst enemy. A man got to always watch out for his ego, man. You got to always manage his ego. Yeah, your ego can help enhance your self-esteem and help you achieve a lot of your goals and objectives. But at the same time, an ego can lead to your self-destruction. The ego can lead to your self-destruction. I've seen that happen with a lot of people, famous people in the public eye, where their ego was their downfall. Same with relationships, man. Yeah, that your ego relates to that whole desire for pussy ownership. So you got to watch out for that. And speaking of cheating, in my Patreon exclusive portion, I want to talk about two types of cheating. When women will cheat on you and stay with you, or when they're cheating on you because they're in the early stages of preparing to divorce you or break up with you. When women will cheat on you as representative of them being in the early stages of divorcing you or breaking up with you. I'm going to discuss that in my Patreon exclusive portion. But I will say, if love is your thing, make sure it involves those two components at minimum. That's the minimum thing. Matter of fact, of those 4 ancient Greek loves, I would say if children are involved, your relationship and marriage is going to involve 3 of those 4 loves. It's going to involve platonic love, sexual love, i.e. lust, and also family love. You know, because family love involves love for your parents, your siblings, your children, and other relatives. That's family love. So once you have children, family love is going to be involved. So it's going to be 3 components, 3 of those 4 ancient Greek types of love involved. So love is not a bad thing, but just make sure that it's real, it's genuine. If it's highly conditional or predicated on one attribute, such as looks or sex appeal or money, career success, that ain't real love. That you're just in a relationship of convenience. You're just in a relationship of convenience, either with a high emphasis on platonic love, a glorified platonic friendship, or a relationship of convenience with a high emphasis on lust, a glorified fuck buddy relationship. But true love is never conditional. Join me in my Patreon exclusive portion. Okay, welcome to the Patreon exclusive portion. Somebody had asked me about those 7 categories I featured in my last video. They said, Alan, I think you might have left out at least one additional category, which would be morals, values, and ethics. Or another way of putting it would be moral character and integrity. I think that's important to both men and women, particularly in a marriage or long-term relationship. Actually, as I mentioned, I taught a class, a college level class 10 years ago called Dating for 21st Century Singles. And I use these same 7 categories that I used in my last video. And when I taught my class, what I did is I included morals, values, and ethics, or moral character and integrity, as a subcategory of the category I have about cultural background and or religious background. Race and ethnicity, along with cultural background and or religious background. Because realistically, for most of us human beings, the number one thing that is usually the basis for our morals, values, and ethics is our culture, what culture we're a part of, and or our religion, what religion we believe in, such as Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Catholicism, whatever. You know, that's going to determine that largely determines the combination of your cultural background and your religious background is usually what's going to determine the basis for your morals, your values, your ethics, your overall moral character and integrity. So I tend to include that as a subcategory of, man, if this don't record, I'm going to be pissed. My smartphone's acting up. So yeah, that's I'll put it in as a subcategory of cultural background and religious background. Okay. A lot of men have asked me over the years, Alan, what motivates women to cheat on you? Why do women cheat? And of course, women have asked me, why do men cheat? And there's no one reason why people cheat. Some people always try to simplify it down to one simple reason. You know, with men, I always hear they cheat because they just don't have any sexual self-control, self-discipline. With women, it's because they're lonely and they have some emotional void that needs to be filled. Both of that's bullshit. There's never any one reason why people cheat. People cheat for a multitude of reasons. Related to what I was alluding to in the free portion, though, there's 2 types of cheating that's going to take place. If you're married, engaged to be married, or you got a long-term girlfriend. In one situation, a woman's going to cheat on you, but stay with you. She's going to cheat on you, whether it be regularly, semi-regularly, or occasionally. Regularly, semi-regularly, or occasionally, but she's going to stay with you. And then another scenario would be when a woman cheats, it's representative of the early stages of her preparing to divorce you or dump you for another man. So those are the 2 main scenarios. Some women are going to cheat, but they're going to have no desire to divorce you or break up with you. And then scenario B is where a woman's cheating or adultery or cheating is representative of her being in the early stages of divorcing you or dumping you for another man. What motivates the difference between the 2? Start with scenario A, when a woman is cheating on you but doesn't want to leave you. As you know, I always divide the appeal of men and women's companionship into the appeal of their sexual attention and companionship and the appeal of their non-sexual attention and companionship. The appeal of their sexual attention and companionship and the appeal of their non-sexual attention and companionship. And for scenario A, that has to do with the sexual component of your marriage or relationship. The sexual component of your marriage or relationship. The number one time women are going to cheat on you, but yet maintain a desire to stay with you, stay married to you, or if unmarried, stay in a relationship with you, is when they either want better dick than what you have to offer. In worst case scenario, the woman didn't hook up with you for sex. That happens a lot with women, man. That rarely happens with men, but believe it or not, you should know already from my videos and my books, that happens a lot with women. Women will literally go as far as to marry a guy. That they have a less than average physical attraction to and a less than average degree of sexual attraction to. Women will do that. That's just, I hate to say it, that's just how women are. That's part of their nature, man. Particularly the more manipulative a woman is and the more materialistic a woman is, and I describe that in detail in my book, The Possibility of Sex. That's just how women are, man. A lot of women, y'all know at least one story of mine, the graduate student who I used to fuck at UCLA. This woman, it was a Caucasian blonde, really attractive, gorgeous. She was at least an 8.5 or a 9 on a scale from 1 to 10. And she was engaged to a guy that was making roughly about $900,000 a year. And she basically went on to admit to me that she was with him primarily because of this. Matter of fact, it was what was really fucked up. Not only was she not really attracted to him physically or sexually, she told me, she confessed to me that she wasn't really attracted to she was white, but she was not attracted to white guys, period. She was attracted to black guys. Yeah, she told me that. She said her main preference for sexual companionship was black men. But she was engaged to her fiance because he had a great job and he had a lot of money. And she went on to also tell me that a lot of her girlfriends were the same way. They would marry guys just for the money. So that's one reason why a lot of women will cheat, is because they never hooked up with you in the first place because of their physical attraction to you or sexual attraction to you. They hooked up with you because of your non-sexual companionship and because of financial provision, your wealth and your financial generosity. That's why a lot of women will hook up with guys. So that would motivate a woman to cheat on you but not want to leave you. Cheat on you but not want to leave you. The second time a woman will cheat on you but not want to leave you is when you're reasonably satisfying in bed. You're a decent fuck in bed. She at least considers you a reasonably satisfying lover in bed, but she just wants different dick, a different type of dick. And I've talked about this before. I give an example. You know, as you know, when I was between 17 and 37, I used to fuck a lot of women who were married, engaged to be married, or had long-term boyfriends. I made a decision to stop around the age of 38. But for that 20-year period between 17 and 37, I probably had sex with about somewhere between 35 and 40 women that were married, engaged to be married, or had a long-term boyfriend. And what most of those women wanted from me is they wanted me to be a different type of lover than their husband, fiance, or boyfriend. Typically, a lot of women will want their husband, fiance, or long-term boyfriend to be their romantic lover. Romantic lover. The guy that's going to give them champagne and flowers and high-quality chocolate on Valentine's Day and put rose petals on the floor and on the bed and maybe sing to them, serenade them, and look into their eyes and tell them how much they love them. A lot of women, they want a guy to be romantic with them, make love to them. But then a lot of women, not all women, but a good number of women, they want a side dude that's going to be ultra kinky, super dominant, and to some degree sadistic or verbally abusive and disrespectful. Sadistic, that's BDSM term, sadist and masochist. Excuse me, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. But yeah, some women, I've talked about some of my stories, like some women, when I was their side dude, they would want me to be the dude that's going to say stuff to them like, bitch, come over here and suck my dick and lick my balls, you no good whore, you no good slut, you bitch. You ain't shit, bitch. Suck my dick and lick my balls. Now see, those women, those same women, they didn't want their husband talking to them that way. They didn't want their fiance talking to them that way. They didn't want their long-term boyfriend talking to them that way. No. No, they want their husband, fiance, boyfriend to be, again, the romantic lover. But they want the side dude to be the one to call him a bitch, a slut, a whore, slap him on the ass, even slap him on the face, slap the dick on the face, fuck him in the ass, come all in their mouth. They want the side dude to do all the ultra kinky shit and dominant shit. But because see, they got to live with their husband, fiance, or boyfriend. And they don't want their husband, fiance, or boyfriend to lose respect for them. They want to maintain a certain level of good girl respect. Good girl respect with their husband, fiance, or boyfriend. So that's why women want a side dude. So they can have the freedom to be a slut, basically. To be treated like a two-bit slut. So those are two reasons why women will cheat on you, but yet stay with you. Either cheat on you regularly, semi-regularly, or occasionally. Is if, number one, they never really hooked up with you in the first place because of physical and or sexual attraction. They hooked up with you in the first place because of your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, and because of what you have to offer financially and materialistically. Or, second thing, they're reasonably satisfied with you in bed, but they want you to be the romantic lover. They want you to be the romantic lover. And they want the side dude to be the one to treat them, talk to them, and treat them like they just a two-bit slut off the streets. Then the second scenario is when a woman is cheating on you, and it's emotional cheating. It's not only physical and sexual cheating, but it's emotional cheating. Once a woman cheats on you emotionally, that means she's preparing to divorce you if you're married, or if you're unmarried, she's preparing to dump you in favor of another guy. And that has very little, if anything, to do with sex. Typically, when a woman is cheating on you, and it's represented in the early stages of her divorcing you or getting ready to leave you, that means she found another guy who she connects with more powerfully than you on a non-sexual and or emotional level. On a non-sexual and or emotional level. More so than a physical or sexual level. She loves that new guy's non-sexual attention and companionship better than yours. She feels like she has an emotional bond with that guy that's stronger than hers, or bond with yours. And in some cases, it might be because he has more money. He can offer a better, upgraded lifestyle than you can. He's making more money than you. He can offer a better lifestyle than you. So if that's the scenario, that's when a woman's going to cheat on you, and it's going to be representative of her being in early stages of divorcing you or breaking up with you for that other guy. And for a lot of guys, that's hard to take. A lot of guys can't handle that. I mean, why would they be able to handle that? See, the thing you got to understand about women, man, compared to men can handle gaps in between their relationships. Women, a lot of women, they will move from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. In other words, if they see that their current relationship is declining and coming to an end, they'll start picking out their next dude before they officially break up with you or before they officially divorce you. That's how women operate. I've had that done to me at least once, if not twice. Where an ex-girlfriend of mine, she basically started interacting with the new dude like about a month or two before we officially broke up. Because women don't like to be single. A lot of women, particularly from middle class and upper middle class families, they don't like to be single for too long. So they'll start setting the groundwork for their next relationship while they're still in a marriage or a relationship with you. Women are scandalous that way. Women are scandalous that way. Be prepared for that. Now, I got into an interesting debate and discussion with a very internationally well-known and respected author and public speaker by the name of Esther Perel. Esther Perel. I would consider her one of my high-caliber guests I had on my old show, Blog Talk Radio, Upfront and Straightforward with Alan Roger Currie. And We had a difference of opinion to do with infidelity and adultery. Because as you know, me being the author of Mo 1, I believe in complete, upfront, and straightforward honesty across the board. Across the board. I don't believe in you pick and choose when to be honest. I believe in upfront, straightforward honesty across the board. No exceptions. Matter of fact, even me and David X, the dating coach David X, we had a difference of opinion in London in November 2010 at the Direct Dating Summit, because I remember during a Q&A session, somebody asked us both about our opinion on infidelity and cheating. And David X basically said he didn't believe in encouraging men to cheat. He didn't necessarily condone it, but he basically said if it happens, just be discreet about it. Just be discreet about it and keep it to yourself. Whereas I said, if you cheat on your wife, fiance, or girlfriend, you should tell them. And a lot of guys were like, really? Are you serious, Alan? I said, yeah, you should tell them. And going back to Esther Perel, she was similar to David X. She was basically like, this is what she said. She said, if you cheat on your spouse or your significant other in the form of a one-night stand or a weekend fling, that you should just keep it to yourself. Yep. She said you should just keep it to yourself if it's a one-night stand or weekend fling. But she said if it's an ongoing affair that's full of emotional attachment, an emotionally profound, ongoing affair, she said that's when you should go ahead and fess up to your spouse or significant other. And I disagree with that, man. Yeah, I don't believe in lying to your spouse or significant other. Again, if you read Mo 1 or listened to Mo 1 audiobook, you should know that about me. I'm all about that. Now, for one thing, me personally, you know this also by reading my book, The Beta Male Revolution. I don't really believe in long-term strict monogamy. I say that in The Beta Male Revolution. So compared to a lot of guys, I don't even believe in that. I believe it's biologically unnatural to try to force yourself to be strictly monogamous to a woman in a long-term manner. I consider, everybody has their own definition. My definition for long-term versus short-term. Long-term, I consider that anytime you're in a relationship that lasts roughly a year or longer. A year or longer. I consider that long-term. Short-term is any relationship that's roughly 11 months or shorter. 11 months or less. I consider that a short-term relationship. Now, I've done short-term, strictly monogamous relationships and didn't run into any major problems with them. But I'm not a fan of long-term strict monogamy. Now, I'll say this, I'm going to be honest. I don't mind a woman choosing to be strictly monogamous to me. I would never tell a woman that she can't be monogamous to me. But as far as me being monogamous to her, I never, ever promise a woman long-term strict monogamy. Never. I never promise or guarantee strict monogamy on my behalf. On my behalf, I always look for long-term relationships to be polyamorous, open or polyamorous. Yep. And along, to be fair to my partner, I always give her the green light to have sex with other men. The only thing I ask for is honesty. That's the main thing I ask for is honesty. I don't want no woman lying to me. If I'm married to a woman, and let's say it's an open marriage, or I'm in a polyamorous relationship with a woman, I would be more upset if a woman had sex with another guy and then tried to hide it from me or lie about it than if a woman had sex with another guy and she straight up told me about it. I put a premium on honesty, man. I don't like no woman. If I find out a woman's trying to hide something from me or lie to me, that relationship or marriage is over immediately. It's over. No discussion, no apologies, it's over. For any woman I'm in a long-term relationship with, or if I happen to get married in the future, was married to, and she had sex with another guy, now her having sex with another guy would not be a deal breaker. That would not be me automatically resulting in us breaking up or us getting a divorce, depending on who the guy was. But if she had sex with another guy and she tried to hide it from me or lie about it and I found out about it later, that relationship's done. That marriage is done. And that's what I told Esther Perel is that, see, when you have sex with anybody, that's two people involved. That's two people involved. So let's say on the man's end, You got a wife, a fiance, or a long-term girlfriend, you cheat on her. You might have the discretion and self-discipline to keep it to yourself, but what about the woman you fucked? I talk about this in chapter 6 of The Possibility of Sex. A lot of women will specifically, if you read chapter 6 of Possibility of Sex, a lot of women will try to get you to cheat. Like if they know you're married or got a fiance or a long-term girlfriend, they'll try to get you to cheat just so they can hold it over your head and try to blackmail you later. You got to watch out for that. Some women, man thieves. I talk about that in a chapter about man thieves and the possibility of sex. Some women will try to get you to cheat. Not because they really want a relationship with you, but they just want to see if they can steal your dick away from your wife, fiance, or girlfriend, and then they'll try to blackmail you with the fact that you cheated on them. See, I don't ever want to be in that position. On the woman's end, let's say I'm married and my wife steps out on me with another dude and she tries to hide it from me. She might have the discretion to keep it to herself, but you think the guy is? Come on, you know how most guys are egotistical and love to kiss and tell and brag. If I'm married and my wife had sex with another dude, that dude, 80 to 90% chance, he gonna tell one of his boys, hey man, y'all know Alan Roger Currie, the old nigga with the Porsche, who be talking about insert dog face here? Man, I fucked his wife, man. I met his wife at this party, man. And yeah, man, I ended up seducing her and I fucked her, man. Yeah, man, that motherfucker said he was the king of verbal seduction, but I fucked his bitch, man. Yeah, man, he said he used to fuck married women back in the day? Well, that's karma coming back on him because I fucked his wife, man. I fucked his bitch, man. And then whoever he tell, gonna be tempted to tell one of his other friends. And the guy he tells is gonna be tempted to tell one of his other friends. And at some point it's gonna come back to me. And I always tell women, if we're in a relationship and you have sex with another dude, you better be the first to tell me. Because if I hear it from somebody else, our shit's done. It's done. It's done. Zilch. No discussion, no reconciliation, no apologies. Shit's done. It's over. It's done. It's done. So, that's the thing, man. Women will, so again, some women will cheat and want to stay with you. Like, I had a lot of women that I fucked in my life, again, when I was between 17 and 37. I had maybe 10% of the women that I fucked between 17 and 37 that discussed wanting to leave their husband, fiance, or boyfriend for me. And of course, I was like, no, I don't want you to do that. But the other roughly 90%, they had no desire to leave their husband, fiance, or boyfriend for me. Even though they enjoyed me fucking them, they were like, I don't want to, because they enjoyed that guy's non-sexual, the access they had to that guy's non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. And if the guy was making nice money, they enjoyed the financial provision that he was providing and the overall lifestyle he was providing them with. So, no, they didn't want to leave. So that's why women cheat without wanting to leave you, is they enjoy the non-sexual component of their marriage or relationship with you, the emotional component of their marriage or relationship with you, and in many cases, the financial component of their marriage or relationship with you. But the number one time a woman's going to leave, cheat on you, and her cheating is going to be represented in the early stages of her divorcing you or dumping you for another guy, is when she's dissatisfied with the non-sexual component of her marriage or relationship with you, the emotional component, and or the financial component. If she's dissatisfied with one or more of those three things, that's when she's going to cheat on you and leave you, divorce you, or leave you for another dude. Get it? Got it? Good. I'll be doing one Patreon exclusive live stream. I mean, not live stream. Uploaded video on either Friday or Saturday. But I'm going out of town tomorrow night, and I'll be back in town on Monday morning. So I definitely won't be doing another free video until next Monday or next Tuesday. Until you hear from me again, enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.